Look, I encourage you, before you step out into the world, how about you tell yourself who you are and what you want and what you desire before you allow the world to tell you who you are, what you want, and what you desire?
Mm-hmm.
You have every right and permission to do so. And be brave about it. It's okay. You don't have to be fearful. If there's something that you want that's bigger than you, and people in your surrounding, they're not operating like that, you're not looking to them for validation. You're not looking to them for permission. Every moment, every step, you have to give yourself permission. You have the permission to go get what you want and be who you want and have what you want. And you have to tell yourself first and start telling yourself that every day and believe that every single day. That has to become a norm of your thinking. That's a part of your God power. And that's what I'm trying to tell. Like, the most powerful thing that you have is your thoughts. And if you can think it, you can bring it into your reality. But just know that's the first part. That's building your belief. We are surrounded by people with lack of belief and not knowing who they are and what you are. You tell yourself who you are, what you want. And through that process, you'll build belief. And even if your current reality is not showing the thing that you see in your mind, you have to tell yourself, like, hey, look, I may not be here where I'm at right now, but I'm going to do the work to get to where I desire. Because what follows belief? You got to put in that action. You got to put in that work. For example, like, look, you may be a 400-pound fat slob right now. And I'm saying that, like, if that may be your reality, but what you see in your mind, you may believe that, like, I see a healthy, chiseled body running marathon type reality. You can say that over. Be real with yourself. Like, right now, I may be ugly. Right now, I may be fat. Be real with yourself, but tell yourself, but not for long. But not for long. Because why? I'm going to do the work every single day, because I know I have to decide my way to success. I have to decide my way to who I desire to be, what I want, and where I'm going. And when you make that decision, God, big God, is going to be like, all right, I'm glad you now understand your power. And I'm going to start to place people, things, opportunities, and resources along your path, but it's up to you to take advantage of it.
Without black, there cannot be anything else.
Hello, gods and goddesses. Welcome back to another episode of the Black and Abundant podcast, where we're talking all things Black abundance and how we can elevate our people in every area of their lives. I am your host, Nia Love, and this is my king, Jamal Jackson, looking good in that black and gold over there.
What's happening, people? What's good?
Love to see it. Y'all like the coordination that we got going on? We've decided that from here on out, we're going to start coordinating. So I got to get Jamal some more different colored shirts.
Well, thanks, babe.
What? I picked out like several different colors that I wanted to wear today. And I was like, I ain't got that. So we finna go shopping, baby. We finna get you some different color clothes. You got clothes, just they all the same color. But anyway, hey, baby.
Hello.
How are you?
What's good? I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This has been a very productive, flowy week. We've had a great balance of going to spend time with people that we love, having some great conversations, but also getting some work done. So it's been good.
For sure. And on top of that, just become aware that there's a lot of work to be done.
Yep.
But I'm excited for the work.
Now, that's just the phase of life that we're in. I want to, before we even dive into the podcast, I guess this is kind of diving into the podcast, but whatever. There was something that I recognized the other day, and I had to apologize to Jamal about, is that my head has not been in the best place, because I've talked about this before, that as the woman, we are the attraction. We are the manifestation energy. That is my role as, as a woman in the house. You're supposed to lead, and you're supposed to have the vision, and you're supposed to do the work. That's great. But as a woman, it is my duty to make sure that the house is in the right energy, that I'm staying in an abundant type mindset so that I can do the attracting part. Because as the woman, I have the most power when it comes to that. And I have not been doing my role as the woman of the house and making sure that I'm attracting the right amount of energy into our home and into our business, because I've been having a belief problem where I have dealt with negative beliefs around being able to make money and people buying our stuff and attracting clients and stuff like that. I've had a negative mindset around it, and I've allowed Jamal to lead in that area when in reality, I'm supposed to be the one that's leading. So something that I've been doing for the past few days is just getting my mind into the right energy. Like back when I was single, something that I used to do every day was wake up in the morning and listen to Abraham Hicks. And if you don't know who Abraham Hicks is, like, amazing. She's absolutely, well, Esther is absolutely amazing in the way that Abraham conveys their message through Esther. Beautiful. So check out Abraham Hicks. But she talks a lot about like manifestation and tapping into source energy and just staying in alignment with the natural flow of things. And that's something that, you know, during my single season, I got heavy into, and I essentially mastered it, because the life that I'm living right now is something that I manifested back then. However, ever since I've stepped into that life now, I've kind of stepped away from tapping into my manifestation energy. And, you know, as the founder of Manifested Period, like, it's kind of insulting to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should be the main one that's in that energy and staying positive about where we are in our lives. But I haven't been on top of that. So just side note to all of the women out there, you know, get back into your goddess energy, get back into your manifestation, your attraction energy, because if you're not, you're holding your family back and you're holding your house back. You're the one that's supposed to stay lifted. You can't have your man carry all of that on top of the house and his own responsibilities. As a man, he can't carry your responsibilities as well. You aren't going to go anywhere. So
I got 2 questions. That's good. I feel like you already answered it, but if you believe that you didn't, just go for it. We're going to get into the topic, but these came to my mind. First question is, so why do you believe that it's important for a woman to hold their responsibility and power in the relationship when it comes to being responsible for the manifestation and embodying that energy in the household and the relationship? Got the question?
Mm-hmm.
And the second question is, why do you think you're having a difficult time? Why have you been having a difficult time with this belief issue lately?
Right. Okay. Well, the first thing is that we've talked about the balance of masculine and femininity before. I think we definitely need to have another podcast about that. But when it comes to the female part in the relationship, like, of course, masculine and feminine energy are opposing.
Right.
Of course. So masculine energy is that of doing, of working, of chasing, of leading. It's a very dominant type energy.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not overshadow the role of the woman in the relationship, because the beautiful thing about the woman is that she leads from the back. She's almost like an accelerant. So whatever her man's vision is, she has to be the fuel to that vision. And the way that she does that is the opposite of masculine energy, through attraction, through sitting back and manifesting. She's the receiving end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, women, when we're in our masculine energy, it blocks the natural flow of receiving. Therefore, as a woman, we have to get in the flow of that attraction, because if we don't, then we're just 2 masculine energies in the household. And that kind of takes away the point of being in a relationship. The beautiful thing about having a man and a woman in a relationship, or a masculine and feminine energy in a relationship, is that it brings that balance so that you can elevate together, because one energy cannot do it by itself, right? Or at least not in the way or at the rate that they can do it together.
Right.
But for me, I feel like I've been getting away from that feminine energy and my manifestation energy, because it's hard. Life gets hard. And also trauma gets in the way. Trauma gets in the way of you tapping into your divine masculine and your divine feminine. Because even though I know that I have this beautiful goddess energy that's just waiting for me to get in alignment, I also have my trauma. My trauma that tells me that we're supposed to struggle with money. My trauma that tells me we have to work hard in order to get everything that we want. My trauma that tells me that people aren't going to buy what I put out there, and what, am I really valuable enough? Or I know that I'm valuable, but are people open enough? Are people wise enough? Are people awakened enough to see my value? It's like, I know what I bring to the table, but I don't want to build an empire based around what if other people can see my value. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always been devalued in the past, that I don't believe that I can put my trust into others, providing for me in the forms of business. So especially when it comes to JSCO Capital, I came from a place of, I've always been an entrepreneur, and I had an entrepreneurial mindset before Jamal and I even met. However, I want it to come from a place of investing in things that don't require other people's help. And that's from trauma. Like, I want to invest in real estate because I don't have to rely on people buying my product. Houses are always going to be a need. People are going to buy that regardless if it's me selling it or not. It's a house. You know what I'm saying? If it's the house that they want, it's the house that they want. Or getting into trucking. People don't need to see my face. They just need to make sure that their goods get from here to here. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be involved in things that did not require my face, or did not require people to want to buy from me specifically. However, with JSCO Capital, that's not that. We have to put our faces out there. People have to trust us and our brand, and people have to want to buy from us, or at least trust us enough to become our clients. And I never believed in a business like that because my trauma never allowed me to. So the fact that we're in that space right now, I'm having this constant internal battle of trauma against alignment. So now I'm having to be more intentional of getting into alignment because I recognize that my trauma is holding me back.
Wow.
That was a lot.
That's deep.
I know.
That's
Sorry.
deep. Thank you for sharing it.
Yeah.
Wow. I think it was important for you to really dive deep into that, because I feel like there's people that's going through that right now and want to get to a place of alignment, even if they're in relationships, or as a woman that wants to understand her role as a woman, and also even men just understanding what's the role of the woman in a relationship. But having that clarity is so important. But yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cool.
As a woman, like men, if you're out there and your woman is not the most positive person, or if she's bringing such a negative energy into the household, or if she's not speaking life over you, that's how you know it's the wrong woman. Or at least you're with a woman who's not tapped in. And the worst thing that a man can do is get a partner that's not tapped in. That's the whole purpose of getting a partner. Like they say, what can a woman bring to the table? That's what a woman brings to the table. And if she's not bringing it to the table, then what's the point of having her there? That sounds really bad. It sounds really, really bad, but it's the truth.
Don't forget where we going.
Okay.
I feel like I got to ask this question.
Okay.
What is a tapped in woman, and how did she get there? Because for you to say, that's the wrong woman, you got the wrong woman, she's not tapped in. And then there's a woman that's listening right now, like what is that? What is tapped in? So I can be in a position to be able to attract my masculine, king, and play my role properly.
Right. Women, if you're watching this, I've been saying it over and over again. Like, figure out what your power is. A tapped in woman understands what her power is. She understands that she can have, do, and be whatever she wants in this life, and so can her family. All she has to do is sit back and be open to receiving it. The thing is that everything that we want, as soon as we want it, it's already in our energy. It's already around us. Source has already recognized that we want it and has already brought it to us. It's just that we have to be in alignment with receiving it. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to use the Amazon example.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll say God to make people understand this, but God is almost like Amazon. We can go on the app and we ask for something. We buy it, right? And it ships to our house. It is not up to us to fulfill that. It's not up to us to package it, figure out where it's coming from, and then ship it to our house. Like, that's not on us. All we have to do is ask for it, order it. But, okay, it's on the way, but you might be blocking it. You might be blocking it by, I don't know, you changed addresses or something. Well, you know what I'm saying?
But your credit card information is not right. It didn't go through properly or something like that.
Right. Like, there's something that you're doing to block it from getting to your house. It's been on the way.
Yeah.
It's on the way, but there's something that you're doing to block it from coming to your house. I don't know. There's construction on your street. I don't know. But in terms of manifestation energy, you blocking it looks like you giving into your negative beliefs. You giving into your traumas. It's you saying, money's hard to make. Man, he ain't never gonna be successful. Like speaking negativity over your man. If you keep putting yourself in that negative energy headspace, then of course the positive things are never gonna come to you. Shipping finna be slow because of you. You are responsible for how fast your manifestations manifest. But it's all about you being in alignment. But as soon as you want something, it's already on the way. And as a woman, you have to understand that. And that's why even when life is happening around you, the role of a woman is hard. It's really hard because even though life is happening around you, you have to understand who you are and that you are ultimately in control.
Boom. That was powerful.
Thank you.
Wow.
And I feel like that leads into our topic for today.
Let's get it. Hey, that was beautiful.
Bringing it around full circle.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, what we wanted to talk about today was, one, understanding your power over your own life, but two, talking to the people who are lost.
Okay.
We were having a conversation the other day where I was saying that I cannot say that I've ever been completely lost in my life, but I know a lot of people who have been. And the reason why I cannot say that I've ever been lost is because even when I was at my lowest, I always knew what I wanted.
You knew what you wanted.
Even when I was at my lowest, I've always known what I've wanted. And I believe, in essence, everybody knows what they want. At the end of the day, everybody knows what they want. And if you don't know exactly what you want, you know how you want to feel. So, if you know what you want, the only reason why you're lost is because you don't believe that you can get to the place where you have everything that you want.
Facts.
And I was wondering why do people feel that way about themselves? Where is the lack of confidence? If you know exactly what you want and you're lost because you don't necessarily know what you need, or either you don't know what you need to do to get there, or you don't believe that you have what it takes to get there. Why do you believe that about yourself? Or why are you in that belief? Because the thing is that the times when I've been at my lowest, all I did was focus on what I wanted. Going back to manifestation energy, all I did was focus on what I wanted. And the path to get there always opened up. It was like the example of how we met, like how I got into that network marketing business to begin with. I literally graduated college and I was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I was like, I want that. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I want that. I never claimed that I was lost. I never claimed that I was lost because I know what I want. I know where I'm going, how I'm going to get there. No clue, but I know where I'm going. So I'm not lost. And as soon as I got done reading that book, Jade, my immediate upline at the time, she slid in my DMs. Literally like that next week. So my question to the audience now is, what's holding you back from getting what you want? And why are you claiming being lost?
Great question. Isn't it funny how when you have an idea of what you want, as you go along your journey, God, source energy will place things along your path to lead you to the next step, but it's up to you to see it. The opportunity to get closer to what you want. But nobody's stopping you from making that decision. Like, you have to see it for yourself, but the only way to see it is, like you're saying, have an idea of what you want. Because if you don't have an idea, you're gonna opportunity is always around. We just blind to them. We're blind. You have opportunities every day, but how can you see it if you don't know what you want? And I wanted to say this too. How can people know what they want when they're surrounded by people who don't know what they want? You know what I'm saying? Like, environment, I'm a huge advocate just about environment. If you're surrounded by people who don't have a vision for their life, who doesn't take the time to be in solitude and ask those foundational building questions and getting clarity over their life, and like, hey, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is where I'm going, this is it. Like, and you're surrounded by, it's like the blind leading the blind environment. How can you expect to know what you want? How can you expect to know what you want if your mom and daddy don't know what they want? They're just robots in this system doing what everybody else do. Not really striving for something bigger than themselves. And when you're not striving for something bigger than yourself, it's like you're not really doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if that's your environment coming up as a child, as a kid, and especially when you're in environments like you don't have much, everybody just kind of in survival mode all the time, you can't really expect to progress. But I feel like it's not really until you change your environment, you have to acquire more experiences in your life and get around people that has an idea of what they want, that's striving something bigger, and you get inspired. Like, you know, dang, that's what he want, that's what he going for. Like, that's possible. I'm motivated, I'm inspired. But now, once you get to that place, that what you got to follow up with is asking yourself, like, do I believe in myself enough to get that?
That part.
And even if you may have an idea, like, what you want, like, you're really chasing an experience. And there's a certain feeling that you want to be overwhelmed with. Like, I desire to feel the experience of being able to pay off one of my close loved ones' bills, pay their mortgage off. Like, I know what I want. Okay, like, that's an experience, that's a feeling. Oh, and I can write out a whole list of that. But none of that matters if I don't believe in myself. And when you're surrounded by people that don't believe in themselves, how can you expect to believe in yourself?
Right.
So they go, and I feel like they both fall in the same hand in hand.
Right.
So belief, yeah.
And last week, if you guys had not tapped into last week's episode, we talked about boundaries, and that specifically of only surrounding yourself with people who are in alignment with where you're going and who you desire to be, and being okay with distancing yourself from people who are against that and who are bringing negativity into your life in order to protect you, your household, and your energy. And I was thinking about how we met a couple over the weekend. And it was crazy the way that things just lined up. But we met this couple over the weekend at this event that we went to. And one thing that the woman said to me is, she was like, it's hard to find couple friends that are happy. Like, it's so hard to find couple friends that are happy or socially stable, who aren't involved in all the dramatics and everything that's going on in life. And this couple was like 10 years older than us or something like that.
Like 35, 33, 35.
Like 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
you know, and the fact that she saw that within us, you know, like that happiness and that stability within us enough to want to be like, hey, y'all want to be couple friends?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that type of energy. Like we would rather not have friends than have friends that are harmful to us in our environment.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of that, like you said about believing in yourself enough to actually go out and chase your dreams, like something, we had another conversation this past weekend. It was really good. Also talking about environment, the people that we welcome into our home and that are here, they are some really dope people.
Fire. Yeah.
Like we call this house the Empire, and it's because we're just so elevated here and we're so protected here. And all of us are entrepreneurial in our own way. All of us have our own dreams, our own vision for life, but also we're all mature.
Mm-hmm.
And we can have some really great conversations. And the conversation that we got into was about God and religion. Mm-hmm. And we talked for hours, y'all. It was like 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like we talked for hours, and I'm not going to dive into everything that we talked about, but there is one thing that we talked about, and it was taking responsibility over your life in the way that you view yourself and your power. Mm-hmm. So I believe the conversation started with Jamal was asking, or Jamal brought up the fact that he refers to himself as a god. And we were getting to like the difference of like big God and little God. And it was a whole thing. But the point that brought up was, what if we have just as much power over our lives as God does? And the reason why I brought this up is because, kind of like the Amazon analogy that I used earlier, God has great power over our lives. Yes, he's responsible for it or she or whatever you refer to God as, is responsible for the packing, the shipping, the actually getting everything into alignment so that it can come to you. That is a huge thing, responsibility that's out of our control. That's completely out of our control. But what's in our control? Asking for it. Putting in the work to go on our phone and buy it. And then when it gets here, actually going to the mailbox and getting it. So although God has the responsibility to put everything in alignment and the way that things must move and work for us, and of course, the way that things come, the way that we learn the lesson, the opportunities that do come our way, and the experience that we do have, but we are responsible for making the decisions that put those things in place. So, for example, going to the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are responsible for making the decision to get our bodies together. We could make that decision, or we could not make that decision. We could choose to eat McDonald's every day if we wanted to, or we could choose to eat salads and go to the gym, but it's still our choice.
Right.
God did not make us go get that McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? God did not make us go to the gym. Mm-hmm. We are responsible for making those decisions that are going to better our lives. And it's up to God to figure out how those things are going to affect our lives, if that makes sense.
100%. 100%. Ooh, this is a topic, man. And I'm okay with saying that, like, how I view God and why I see myself as a guy, you know, I own that. If you rocking with it, great, awesome. If you ain't, cool. I would love for you to, if you want to get more in my mindset of why I think the way that I do, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. But to add on to that, Queen, like, we living in this world, and we have these resources and opportunities to literally create the life that you desire, literally create a life that you envision in your mind. The most powerful thing that we have is the ability to think. Mm-hmm. But you got to ask yourself, if that's the facts, like, we have the ability to think, all right, and which means that you can take what's in your mind and bring it into a reality. Because look outside your reality. You see all these buildings. You see like this chair we're sitting on, this microphone. This was a thought previously in somebody else's mind, which means that I could do anything that I put my mind to. I don't know when it's going to manifest. That's not my responsibility. But just the mere sole fact that if I can think it, I could touch it in my hand, I can bring it to reality. All right. How can I make it happen? Or what process do I need to go through? And that's connected to, I know what I want. All right. And I tell God, all right, God, you gave me the ability to think, which means that on this earth, I can manifest what I desire to be. That's my power. And I have the power of choice to choose my way through this life and get to the reality that I desire. So if I'm equipped with that power, I think I'm a little good of my reality. And I say this all the time. I am God of my own reality. I'm never saying that I'm bigger than big God. Like, no. I am God of my own reality. So going back to what I was saying, like, okay, if you could think it, you could bring it into your reality. My question that I want to ask you, like, all right, what's influencing your thoughts? Because look out in your reality, there are so many different agendas, people that will place all these belief systems on you, all these different things in place to keep you in a low vibrational state. All these things set in place for you to believe that you do not have power. And that, okay, you need something outside of yourself to come save you. With this whole time, at the whole core of who you are, the powers was already within you the whole time. We just allow other people who do not believe in themselves. And we allow other people that has an agenda to take your power for their benefit and have you to go and operating in this life, in this reality, lower than what you're supposed to be and who you're called to be. Your greatness, you're at your pure essence, your greatness, you're powerful. And because we operate in that energy, because like we are bold and sold and told on that, I feel like that scares a lot of people. Because I'm telling you, as I look in this mirror, I'm telling you, like, bro, you powerful. You already have everything within you. Like, you got this. Like, if you think it, you can manifest that shit into your reality. All right. If you got people that's in your surrounding, that's in your energy, that's in your area, that's not operating, that's not vibrating at the high, it does not mean that you're saying you're better than them. No, they're not at a place where they know who they are. They don't know their true power. But it's your responsibility to tap into your true power and know that within yourself, and don't be apologetic about that shit. So we got to get to a place, we got to stop being apologetic about being confident. Like, no. Honestly, like, but you got to get to a place where you're really tapped in, start to seeing things where they are. And like, bro, let's start taking these chains, these slave chains off our mind. And like start to wake up, man. So I don't know where I was going with that, but that,
no, you was talking spicy, baby.
Like I need to say that I need all the people out there, like, look, you are a God of your own reality. You are a God walking on this space. Which means when I say that, because you can think it, I know I'm recapping what I'm saying, because you can think it, you can bring it into your reality. I also want to say this. There's this saying that, like, you are born into a family that you have no control over. Which means that you are born with, you're giving certain belief systems. You're giving certain just how you go about life. And a lot of times we go through this life not questioning the belief systems that we've been given. And because we do not question the belief systems that we've been given, we just automatically, without thought, assume like this is just a stone cold hardcore belief, and this is the way of life, no question. I'm just going to navigate through this life one way. But you're going to get to a place in life where you're wondering, why am I not getting the outcomes and the results that I want? Because there's other people in your reality and they're achieving all these different things. They're manifesting certain realities, and you're gonna ask them like, dang, how did they do that? You know, why is this his situation, but like, why is my situation like this? Everything is linked to what you believe, your belief system, and what you believe influences your decisions that you make in your life. So a part of being in your God power is knowing that you have the ability and power to decide your way to who you want to become. But until you change the program, until you change belief, until you change the laws and principles that you abide by, nothing's going to change for you.
He's so sexy.
Chill. Come on, man. Come on.
I love when he gets like turned up, fired up about something that he believes in. Jamal is very like, that personal responsibility and account, that's his butter.
Oh.
That's his bread and his butter. So when he get fired up, that's like the sexiest thing ever in the world.
That's personal responsibility. Yes. Own it. Cool.
Right.
What are your thoughts? What you got to add to that?
There was so much that I couldn't even like hold on to a single thought because I was like, ooh, we should talk about this. Ooh, we should talk about this. There was just a lot there.
Let me say this. And this has nothing to do with like religion.
Yeah.
Let's take that off the table. It has nothing to do with your religious beliefs.
That's what I was going to say.
You know, let's put that on the table. We're just talking about everything I just said. Let's just focus on that.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of people like, but you got to bring that in. You got to factor it in like, nah, we don't got to do that.
Right.
Hold up. Now, I know you ain't listening to this podcast and your credit is jacked up. Nah. The goal here is being black and abundant, not black and limited, because we both know that there's only so much you can do with a jacked up credit score, right? I know you're tired of getting denied. So what I need you to do is head over to start.jscocapital.com and book a free credit consultation with us right now. And let us come up with a game plan to get your credit right. I do not care what's on your credit. It can be collections, bankruptcies, charge-offs, late payments, you name it. We'll get you right. So once again, that's start.jscocapital.com. All right. I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. Now let's get back to the episode.
Something that the conversation that we were having with the house and all the people, it brought me to a couple conclusions. And one of them being that I don't care what you believe.
Right.
Just make sure that you chose to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you believe as long as you chose to believe it. There's nothing wrong with any belief that you choose.
Right.
And this doesn't have to be religion. It could be a belief about anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with the belief that you choose as long as you're the one who chose it.
Right.
And that nobody chose that for you. Because like Jamal said, we're brought into this life, we're brought into a certain family, and we're brought into a certain experience that creates certain beliefs. As children, it is our responsibility on our family to raise us up in whatever beliefs that they're in to make us upstanding human beings or whatever that reason may be. But also at some point along your journey, you have to take a look at all the beliefs that you've been given and decide if you want to continue to believe them.
Right.
So we got into a conversation of there's nothing wrong with being religious. There's nothing wrong with being spiritual. There's nothing wrong with whatever you choose to be. But have you decided, or are you just going with the programming that you've been given?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to understand that we have so much power over our reality, but we have to recognize that it's our choice as to what our reality can be.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we continue blindly moving through life and not questioning any beliefs that we have, then we're never going to be able to break free from the lives of those around us. And I don't know about you guys, but the life that my family is living is not one that I want to live.
Facts.
Therefore, I cannot continue operating in the same beliefs that they have. And that could be beliefs around money, around relationships, around who you should be, or around your character. Whatever their beliefs are, their beliefs got them to a certain place in life. So at what point do I take what I've learned from them and the beliefs that I've accumulated from them, and I turn it around and I go pursue the life that I want for myself?
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this earlier, the trauma that I have around people buying my stuff and making money or whatever. You have to understand that everything that you believe, take notes, everything that you believe came from your thoughts. And your thoughts come from your experiences. So what happens is that you have an experience in life. Whatever that experience may be, you had an experience in life, and that shaped a certain thought about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make an example. Let's say in 3rd grade, little Susie on the playground called you ugly. Okay. She called you ugly. That was an experience, and it triggered a thought. Am I ugly? I might be ugly. And then the more you think that thought, every day, the next day, dang, am I ugly? The next day, am I ugly? I'm ugly. And now you've created a belief.
Mm-hmm.
Now that belief is that you're ugly.
And then you start inviting experiences into your life that reinforces that belief. Yeah.
As you keep thinking that thought, you keep reinforcing that because you bring in more experience, and that becomes your reality.
Wow.
Now you've attracted a reality where you're ugly.
Wow.
Where the same thing could have happened if Susie called you pretty. You know what I'm saying? So we have the ability to go back and change that. You can't, I'm not saying that it's easy to change your beliefs, but it is doable. You have to understand where it comes from, what experience that you had that brought about that belief within you. I know for me, my trauma around not being able to rely on people and believing that people aren't going to show up for me, that happened at my 6th grade birthday party. When my mom was like, you can invite 10 people to come to your birthday party. It was at the Embassy Suites. I remember my mom bought all these snacks. We went to the pool. We had games. And my mom said, you can invite 10 people. 2 people showed up. And my mom, I love you, mommy, but my mom was like, you really ain't got no friends? Like, you so lame, Nia. You really ain't got no friends? Nobody showed up?
Wow.
And that solidified for me. Like, moving on out, I was like, dang, I don't have any friends. I can't rely on people to show up for me. Nobody's going to show up for me.
Wow.
I'm lame. And guess what happened? I had trouble making friends all throughout my childhood. Even up to now, I'm just now getting to a place where I have solid friends.
Wow.
It made me believe that nobody was going to show up for me. I still have that belief. Like, it meant so much to me when you threw a birthday party for me last year, because every year, like, I love being celebrated and I love celebrating myself. However, I always have anxiety that no one's going to show up for me. So every year I throw myself a birthday party or some type of get together or something. And every year I have so much anxiety that no one's going to show up. So it felt good to like just walk into being celebrated and not having to worry about if anybody's going to show up or not, because you handled that part for me. But I also have to heal from this trauma. Like, just because you did that for me doesn't mean that I don't need to heal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I this is just another tidbit. We rely too heavily on our partners to walk around our traumas rather than us fixing our traumas ourselves. That's one thing. So my whole point around this was you can identify what your traumas are by referring back to an experience, because at the end of the day, that experience doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
That experiences should not hold so much weight over your life that you change all of your beliefs and your reality around it. No experience is that powerful.
Right.
No experience is too powerful that you cannot turn that around if you decide to. That's the beauty. That's the beauty in our power. That is the power that was given to us by God, the ability to take control over our own lives.
Yeah. And to, man, hand clap on that.
Thank you.
Woo! And to add on to that, there's something else I wanted to say, but to kind of add on to this whole thing about, it's something about relationships. I want to make this note or say this thing. If y'all agree, disagree, I would love to know. Drop some comments. But one thing I learned about relationships, and when you make the decision to attach yourself to someone and y'all become life partners, you know, that solidifies like, hey, we're doing life together, but also along that journey that you are also inviting along that journey that your partner's traumas, pain, previous stuff, you're never going to be 100% healed. There's no such thing as just being 100% healed, because you're going to be continuously doing the work to get to a place of heal and like just wholeness, right? But what I do believe is that one thing I learned is that you got to be careful of thinking that you have to be responsible for your partner's healing. And I want to say this, one thing I learned and one thing I've accepted, and I feel like we have this mutual understanding. You're not responsible for my healing. I'm not responsible for your healing. But what we are responsible for is being the biggest supporter along each other's journey to healing. Like, because I can't, you're a human being. I'm a human being. You can't control who I am or what I do. I can influence.
Right.
We can influence each other, but we just make sure that like we are necessarily and positively influencing each other in the right way, so we can help and support each other get to that next step and next level of wholeness and healing. And
if this is a quick bit, but if you know what triggers your partner, don't do it. That's another thing. That's also part of being supportive. Not saying that your partner should not heal from their triggers, but if you know that there is a trigger, don't poke it. You know what I'm saying? Like, support them and encourage them in healing that, but also don't be the reason as to why they keep falling back into it.
Wow.
The reason why I bring that up is because Jamal and I had an argument the other day. It was...
Ooh, that was, hey, we had a big wazoo.
Yeah, we had a big argument the other day.
Y'all, we had a big wazoo. It was my fault, though. It was my fault.
It was a little bit. I triggered you, and then you triggered me. Yeah. That's what it was. But I didn't mean to trigger you. You meant to trigger me. That's the difference. Why it was his fault. But I have a trigger where I cannot stand when someone does not communicate with me. That is my biggest trigger. Y'all, I don't get mad. It's very rare that I get mad. And it's very rare that someone takes me out of my character. But the only thing that can make me mad or take me out of my character is someone refusing to communicate. We can communicate about anything. Jamal knows this. Like, we've been able to communicate about absolutely anything, and I always come at him from a peaceful, non-judgmental place about anything. However, if he chooses to not communicate, I lose my mind. And the reason being is because I understand that communication is such a vital piece of a relationship. And you were talking to somebody the other day and you asked them why they get a divorce, and they said because they allow, kitchen fires turn into forest fire. They allowed kitchen fires to turn into forest fires, meaning that there was a small problem that if you just talked about it, you guys could have fixed it, but you didn't. Therefore, it destroyed the entire relationship. And that's me. Like, that's my trigger. I know that we can solve, because I am such an understanding person, because I'm not judgmental when it comes to my partner, like, because I know that I have your back through anything, absolutely anything. The fact that you would choose to not talk to me about something, that drives me nuts. Mad. I dropped the ball on that one. And what happened basically is something happened and it rubbed me the wrong way. And I said, all right, cool. I ain't gonna talk about it. I'm gonna just wait. When I'm ready to talk, I'm gonna talk. And then the longer you wait,
during that process, you're allowing your thoughts to fester in your mind, and it just builds and builds and builds. And I got stronger and stronger in my will to, you know, I ain't gonna talk. I'm doing my own thing. It is what it is. And she knew, you know, something was wrong. And in that situation, I kind of painted you as like the victim.
Not the victim, the enemy.
The enemy. I'm sorry, the enemy. And like, you know what? And I have this tendency to shut down and just kind of be in my own little world, and I come out when I'm ready. But I'm not trying to operate like that no more, to be honest.
Please
not
don't.
trying. I'm working. I'm actively working to get out of that type of what's the word? That type of response, that type of reaction, that type of coping mechanism. But yeah, moral of the story: just go ahead and talk about it off the rip and go on with your life.
Just communicate. Yeah, that's the key to any happy, successful relationship. For sure. All you have to do is communicate.
Yeah. And we kind of went off a segment for like a few minutes, but to go back to the whole thing of beliefs, you know, confidence. I want to say this too.
You just read my mind.
What?
That's where I was going to take it back to.
Yeah. Going back to, we locked in. Going back to beliefs and confidence. I hope people know, and if they don't, I'm telling you, look, I encourage you, before you step out into the world, how about you tell yourself who you are and what you want and what you desire before you allow the world to tell you who you are, what you want, and what you desire. You have every right and permission to do so, and be brave about it. It's okay. You don't have to be fearful. If there's something that you want that's bigger than you, and people in your surrounding, they're not operating like that, you're not looking to them for validation. You're not looking to them for permission. Every moment, every step, you have to give yourself permission. You have the permission to go get what you want and be who you want and have what you want. And you have to tell yourself first and start telling yourself that every day and believe that every single day. That has to become a norm of your thinking. That's a part of your God power. And that's what I'm trying to tell. Like, the most powerful thing that you have is your thoughts. And if you can think it, you can bring it into your reality. But just know that's the first part. That's building your belief. We are surrounded by people with lack of belief and not knowing who they are and what you are. You tell yourself who you are, what you want. And through that process, you'll build belief. And even if your current reality is not showing the thing that you see in your mind, you have to tell yourself like, hey, look, I may not be here where I'm at right now, but I'm going to do the work to get to where I desire, because what follows belief? You got to put in that action. You got to put in that work. For example, like, look, you may be a 400-pound fat slob right now. And I'm saying that, like, if that may be your reality, but what you see in your mind, you may believe that, like, I see a healthy, chiseled body running marathon type reality. You can say that over. Be real with yourself. Like, right now, I may be ugly. Right now, I may be fat. Be real with yourself, but tell yourself, but not for long. But not for long. Because why? I'm going to do the work every single day, because I know I have to decide my way to success. I have to decide my way to who I would desire to be, what I want, and where I'm going. And when you make that decision, God, big God, is going to be like, all right, I'm glad you now understand your power. And I'm going to start to place people, things, opportunities, and resources along your path, but it's up to you to take advantage of them. That's been a game changer for me. So please understand your power, people. Please.
That was so beautiful.
Okay.
Higher power told me to share this with y'all. Its absence is irrelevant. Its absence is irrelevant.
Write that down.
That is a mantra. Its absence is irrelevant. Reason being is because, like what Jamal was saying, even though your current reality does not reflect your wants and your desires right now, that's irrelevant. You can't allow your current reality to sway what you have going on up here in your mind.
Right.
Your current reality is irrelevant to where you're going and what you desire. You have to make everything come true in your mind first, outside of what's going on out here. And what I was going to say is that our power requires maintenance. We can know our power, but we have to be able to maintain it. It's not enough to just listen to this podcast and then understand, oh yeah, I'm powerful. I can manifest this. I can have whatever I want in my life. You have to remind yourself daily. You have to remind yourself momently, because there are going to be situations in life that keep trying to distract you from your power. The enemy is going to constantly try to distract you from your power, but you have to constantly remind yourself of who you are and whose you are. So a tangible thing, like an actionable step that you can take, is start putting yourself in that energy every rising. Like, this is why it's important to meditate. This is why it's important to journal. This is why it's important to pray. Like, whatever brings you back to that power, back to that source energy, back into that flow, into that manifestation, whatever you need to do to bring you back into that, do it. Like I said, I went through a whole season where I was doing it every day. And then I thought, I'm good. I don't have to do this anymore. And that's why I'm in the place where I am now, where I'm like, okay, I have to go back and do that, because I've allowed myself to get away from my power. I've allowed myself to get away from my highest self. So what I would say do is, like, for me, it's listening to Abraham Hicks every morning. It's going in my journal and writing down exactly what I want. It's when I meditate, sitting in the energy of how I want to feel. So as of late, like, I recognize that what I want to feel is just secure. I want to feel safe. I want to feel secure. So what I do is, when I meditate, I'll imagine myself in a place where I feel safe and secure. And I just sit in that and I smile. And I force myself to feel that feeling. What does it feel like? Because at the end of the day, the way that we connect to the divine, the way that we connect to source, is through our emotions. So if we can invoke that energy within ourselves, then we would attract more of that energy. We'd attract more of that feeling. So I bring this all around to say, if you have trouble reminding yourself of who you are, put things in place, Get into rituals, things that you do every day to pull yourself back into that energy so that you can stay focused, because life is always going to knock you off. There are so many distractions out here. What's that movie that
They Live?
They Live. If you haven't seen They Live, what is it, Tubi?
Tubi.
It's on Tubi. They Live on Tubi. Go watch that movie.
Watch it.
Go watch that movie.
Yep.
Go watch that movie. I cannot stress that enough. They Live on Tubi. Go watch that movie.
Yep.
But one thing that they were saying is that everything around us is all a distraction. It's all intentionally placed in order to get us to buy into whatever agenda they have, they being the people that control everything, right? So how can we be surrounded by all of these distractions? I mean, at this point, we have the distractions in our palm of our hand. We have it everywhere around us. So how can we be surrounded by all of these distractions and all these things trying to take our power away and continue to live in our power? We do so by putting ourselves in places to constantly remind ourselves of our power.
Powerful. And to add on to that, I feel like I want to speak to the men. I ain't gonna say I can't speak for the women per se, but fellas, and what you were saying is that's a very great embodiment of having clarity of what you want. That should be the goal. You getting clear on what you want and who you desire to be. One thing that has helped me along my journey to get super clear on what I want and obtaining clarity is this. When we all experience moments where we are unhappy. There's like some disruption within us. Like we're just in a state of like chaos and stuff. One thing that has helped me is having the strength to pull back and go into a place of solitude. Because a lot of people are just wandering, just going through life, just feeding into all the distractions, distraction here. That is the best way to have a person so far removed from true self. just continuously distracted. And we also, because we're distracted, we bring on more distractions onto ourselves. And a lot of these are toxic distractions. You know, people distractions, you know, food distractions, all just distractions. But anyway, what has helped me is to pull back, go into a place of solitude, and give yourself the permission to just start asking yourself deep questions. You know, ask a lot of why questions. Ask like, hey, what is it that I really, really want? And get super clear. And the moment you get clear, you have to ask yourself, what is in my current reality? What's in my environment? And who is in my environment that's playing into where I am right now? And who's going to either help or hinder me, or what's helping or hindering me get into the next stage that I desire to go? Because we said it yesterday. I stand by this quote. As you go up in life, you have to give up. You got to give up certain programmings, beliefs, people, certain habits. And even when you decide to remove yourself out of this environment, you're still habitual by nature. Which means that as you go to the next level, you better make sure you're surrounded by the people that's where you desire to be. You're, you know, feeding yourself the diet that's where you desire to be, what you want to look like. Because if you don't, it's only a matter of time you're going to go back
to your habits.
Your habits. And I feel like that's really important to keep in mind too, y'all. Like, that's important.
Right.
All right.
And something, well, I know we're like nearing that time, near the end of the podcast, but I wanted to make one more point before we close this thing out. And it's going back to that confidence within oneself. Because once you recognize your power, you have a certain confidence about yourself and the way that you carry yourself. And a question that we've been asking each other and a conversation that we had is, what's wrong with being confident? Is it wrong to not be humble? And that might cause a big controversial thing, but
talk about it.
We came to the conclusion that we're okay with not being humble.
Right.
And that does not mean that we're cocky. That just means that we understand that ultimately it was up to us to create the life that we have now, to become the people that we desire to become, to do the things that we desire to do. It was up to us making that decision. Yes, God played a huge part in making those things come to fruition because of the opportunities, the experiences, the people that were placed in our lives in order to make those things happen. But those things would have never happened if we didn't make the decision to do so.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm going to be confident about myself, and I'm going to be proud of myself, and that I was able to take myself out of my trauma, out of those negative beliefs, out of the drama, out of all of the things that could have been excuses. Because there are lots of excuses. There are a lot of bad habits. There are a lot of bad mentalities around us, but it was up to me to pull myself out of that and become the woman that I wanted to become for myself, regardless of what was going on in my outside reality. Regardless of where I came from, regardless of what I had. It was up to me to do that. Therefore, yes, I'm going to be confident about it because I know that I put in the work to get here.
Facts.
I know my power. I know what I did. Therefore, why do I have to be humble about that?
Right.
And I'm not saying to rub that in people's faces, because I don't. I don't rub that in people's faces because I understand I have just as much power as you do.
Exactly.
I'm not above anybody. I'm not better than anybody. I just made a decision. But every person on this planet has the opportunity to make that same decision for themselves. I'm not special. I'm not special. I just know that I made that decision, and therefore I'm going to be confident about it. But I'm going to encourage you to make the same decision for yourself too. There's plenty to go around.
I don't even want to say nothing else after that, because that was just a well said.
Thank you, baby.
Well said. Well, I guess I can say this one thing. And just because we choose not to be humble about ourselves does not mean that we're bigger or better than big God.
Yeah.
And we just want to make it clear, it does not mean that we're saying that we're better than other people, because we are equal, because we understand that like things can just be taken away from you at any moment. Like, we understand that. We love it. The energy that we give out is like, it's love and abundance. But you can be that and not be humble. Like, just because you choose not to be humble is not a bad thing. Because, like she said, the key thing, we take full responsibility for our lives and we put in the work. And we own that, and that's our power. That's all I'm saying on that. And good job.
Thank you.
That was fire.
I want to give this example real fast.
Please do.
Little example.
Hey, this your podcast.
Stop.
Come on.
But back to the whole point of knowing who you are and your confidence. So one thing that I've been doing on my journey of Miss Black USA is that when I go speak to people, I say, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. And I say that in front of every crowd that I've stood in front of. As soon as I say, like, my purpose, my message, what I came here to do, I'm gonna win. And no one has ever thought me cocky for saying that. No one has ever thought me cocky for saying that. Because I'm not saying anything about the women that I'm competing against. But here's the thing. I know my hard work. I know what I bring to the table. And I know that I'm going to be the best in whatever I do because I'm going to give my best. And my best is not to be played with because I understand my power and I understand the work that I put behind it. But that's not to say what the other girls are doing. I don't know them. I don't know what they got going on. I don't know how much work they've been putting in. I've purposefully put myself in a place where I don't even look at them. I have blinders on.
There you go.
Because all I can do is control me and what I bring to the table. And I know they're going to bring their best. And that's great. But I'm going to bring my best. And I know what my best look like. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's cocky. That's not cocky at all. I'm saying I believe in myself 100%. And people love that because they want to believe in themselves. They want to have that confidence that I have. They want to have that confidence in themselves that I have. But that confidence is what's going to bring about what I want. That confidence is what's going to bring what I desire into fruition because I understand my power. It doesn't matter what everyone else got going on.
Right. This
may be a competition, but the only competition is myself and my ability to tap into my power.
Talk your talk.
And that's outside of pageantry. That's in life. It doesn't matter what everybody else got going on. What everybody else is doing, that's irrelevant. What's relevant is what I'm doing. Am I tapped into my power and who I am? Am I putting in the work? Am I doing my best? If that's true, if I'm doing all of that, it doesn't matter what other people are doing because nothing's going to stop me. It's going to be impossible to stop me. So I need you guys to understand that and like get into that energy. Like you can be confident in who you are and your power. Nobody's going to take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from you.
I'm literally over here just like in awe. Just like, wow.
Thank you, baby.
Man, that was so powerful. That's powerful. Hey, let's wrap this up.
All right. You want to wrap it?
I'll wrap it. All right. So, family, I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. This is episode 30.
30!
Hey!
Watch it not be 30. I think it's 30, though.
If it's not 30, 29. Hey! Just want to say, shouts out to, if you're still tapped in listening, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for just rocking with us and tapping in with us and just believing in us and going along this journey with us. So much gratitude. But with that being said, family, don't forget your power, confidence. Get around people who are confident. Get around people who are confident, abundantly confident. That's not intimidated by other people's confidence. Because when you know who you are and when you know your true power, none of the other stuff matters. Because you operate from a place of abundance. Don't forget that. So with that being said, this is the Black and Abundant Podcast.
Subscribe, like, share, all of those things as well. Follow us on Instagram. Go ahead and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Yeah, put on your notifications, all that. But yeah,
all that.
Leave a review.
and leave
Comment.
a review.
Do all the
Comment.
things.
Share. Please. We appreciate the support. So with that being said, we are out.